Howdy dang dizzly doo wop. I am Zachary D, the Palsy Papa, and this is Palsy Papa Presents. Thank you for calling. Why People Quit Call Center Jobs, featuring our big homie, P.T. Papadopoulos. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, you said you was gonna do a video every Tuesday, every Thursday, and every Saturday without fail. Then you made it one whole week, and you started falling off again. No. I said I would endeavor, and I have. The issue that I have, the issue that I had last week was I actually recorded a reaction to this video, and it resulted in no audio from PT Papadopoulos, which, if I'm going to do a reaction, you've got to know what he's saying for what I'm saying to make any ninny-mugging kind of sense. So, it didn't come out. And then, it goes without saying, my life is a little hectic. I have not done a life update video, nor do I feel it appropriate to do a major life update video right now. But I will say that I've gotten some news over the course of the end of last week that put me in a mood to not record this past Sunday. I have resolved as much of that as I can right now, and it's actually, what is today? Wednesday morning when I'm recording this video and probably a couple of others. Now, this video we're going to react to today is a bit longer. I was going to split it up into two videos, but because of missing content last week, I'm just going to give you the whole thing in one rip, and then we are going to dive into a couple of videos on the bioethics question. Now, I didn't plan on this channel becoming a reaction channel, but I think that might be more suited for what for my style of discussion, of back and forth. I mean, I can write and I can read you the essays that I wrote, and we can do that, but this seems to resonate a bit more, and I might do some off the cuff type stuff, but I am gonna look for reaction videos for the longer form, for some of the larger topics, especially like bioethics. There's like a 40-minute video that I could probably offer some commentary on that would address the question of the bioethics of why it would be inappropriate to clone humans way better than I could, even if I cited a bunch of sources and stuff. So we'll see. I'm happy with doing reactions right now. I'm enjoying these in particular. But here is PT Pop with Why People Quit Call Center Jobs. Definitely appreciate you guys for watching. Let's go ahead and dive into it. It's going to be a long video, folks.
Hello, peoples. Fine dwellers of the internet. This is PT Pop here.
All right, good.
Speaking to you today with all four lobes of my brain securely bound behind my back. Today I'm going to talk about why people quit call center jobs. Imagine that. Somebody quits a call center job. Stay tuned.
Sir, stick your thumb in your butthole for me and then turn it to the right. There you go. You're set up now. Oh, you got your online banking. See ya. Bye.
This stuff is wild.
Hey, before I get to our main topic, I want to tell you I've got a couple of books for sale that I've personally written. They're both books of fiction. My first book is called Breathe, John Lennon, A Conspiracy to Murder. This is a book of historical fiction about John Lennon faking his death.
His
and Yoko has something to do with it.
Because
so buy that book. You'll like it. And the other book I have is a book of fiction. It's about time travel. It's about a guy who's in his 50s who wants to be a kid again because he's tired of the doldrums of life, and he meets a sexy gypsy woman, prostitute lady, who sends him back to 1976, where he gets to relive his childhood. So one of my subscribers asked me to do a video about why people quit call center jobs, and to support the dreary topic, I picked one of my photographs of the old BF Goodrich factory that I took. It's dreary, it's dull, it's old, it's foreboding, so stay tuned. So why people quit call center jobs? The first reason people quit call center jobs is it's demeaning work. This is work that you're treated like a simpleton on a regular basis. You're treated...
Okay, so I disagree on the face of it. This work that we do is only demeaning if you let it be that. I think I'm a little bit loud. I'm a little bit animated. This topic is personal to me, so I might be a little bit more animated than I should be about this. Now, that being said, it's only demeaning if you let it be demeaning. It is not such that it has to be demeaning, and there's a commentary there that you have to find the value in the work that you agree to do. Nobody is going to spend their day pumping you up. It's just no matter where you work, right? So if you agree to do a job, in some sense you have an obligation to go in and give your best to that job. Now, one could make an argument that whoever chooses to employ you set forth their own set of obligations as to what they would provide you when you agreed to work for them. There are employee handbooks, there are service agreements, there are all kinds of things that lay out exactly what the job that you're going for has said they would do. Now, he's going to lay out here why he thinks it's demeaning, and I want to respond to this point by point. So let me back it up a little bit, because I think I missed a smidge of his point.
You're treated like a simpleton on a regular basis. You're treated like an idiot.
Okay, so are you treated like an idiot? Have there been call centers where I've worked where I felt like I was treated like an idiot? Sure. But the majority of them, no. There are tight parameters. There are restrictions on how often you can be out of an available status from the phone perspective. So you're going to feel sort of micromanaged. But if you excel in that environment, if you can get in their little box and do what they tell you to do, then you can find success in this industry, whether it's training or managing or QA or workforce management or HR or anything like that. You can. There's a lot of success to be found. I mean, we saw in the last reaction that I did about why call center jobs were disappearing, we saw somebody who started out as an agent and is now managing the AI bot, the chat bot for the same, what I presume is the same company. So, does she think her work is demeaning? Probably not.
Most of the time, you're put down by the management. You're put down by your coworkers. You're manipulated by the management. You're manipulated by the customers.
Okay, so he says here you're put down by the management, put down by the your coworkers. First off, if you're in a workplace environment where you're put down, like directly, you're put down by the management, I can tell you firsthand that not everywhere is like that. Now, is everywhere going to offer you all the opportunities you might think you're worth? No. But are they going to specifically be insulting you day in and day out and putting you down like he says? No. I don't think so. And this is from somebody working in the currently working in this industry. Like I didn't quit and then start making these videos. I'm not jaded. I'm not disgruntled in some type of way. I'm not looking at it with rose-colored glasses either. I've been doing it for a very long time, and I know what he's talking about. But you've got to leave those places. You cannot let those places steal your peace. And if you find out that a place that used to not be like that starts to get that way, you should endeavor to find a new place to work. Take whatever skills you learned working where you worked and move. What the heck? My glasses are crickety. Is it, or is it my head's just crickety? The camera's I don't know. But you've got to find a place that's going to value you and value the skill set that you have. You can't blame the entire because this is not why people leave certain companies. This is why people leave the jobs. And sure, you might leave a specific company, but I don't think this addresses why people leave the industry. And I want to, if he doesn't hit the exact reason that I think people leave, I want to at some point in this video go ahead and mention why it is that I think people leave the industry in total.
It's a horribly demeaning atmosphere where you're never told you're any good. You're always told you're messing up. You're always told that you're not good enough, that you're not quite there yet. You're always just like a step away from really improving, and they never let you improve.
Not true. Not in my experience. I mean, he may be talking about like a sales job, which I've said before. I refuse to do sales jobs for the exact reasons he's mentioning. Because the metrics keep moving, they move the goalpost. They don't acknowledge what you're doing right a lot of the times. But in customer service, in my experience, the ones that are good at the right places get noticed. It's not as if you're every day coming in and just getting told how much you suck. That's just not the case. Now, are there days that you get told you suck? Or you got to go schedule a meeting and have a tough meeting about a mistake that you made? Yeah. It's up to you to be a professional and learn from those opportunities and don't make the same mistake twice, or at least not in rapid succession, right? So, and then he said something about being manipulated by the customers. And you can't be manipulated by the customers if you're following your procedures. You have a box. You have a lane to stay in, a walled garden of sorts of things you can and can't do, things you can and can't say, things that will and won't fly. And some companies require you to take a fair bit more abuse than other companies from the customers, but a lot of companies, especially these days, are getting to a point where they don't make you take a whole ton of abuse as far as cursing or strictly demeaning language without saying anything. It's pretty rare in my experience that these days you're just supposed to take it. And then you have to understand too that if a customer is being demeaning to you, you are just, for lack of a better word, an avatar for the company at that point. They're not talking about you personally. They don't know you. They met you, 5 minutes ago? They have no personal attachment to who you are. They don't know your character. And the one thing that I will say that still gets on my nerves after 15 years of doing it is being called incompetent. I can be called a lot of things, but I'm not incompetent at my job. You can curse me out, curse my mama. I've been called every name in the book dozens, if not more, times. So I understand again what he's saying here. And I hope this leads into a larger point, which I think is the real reason people leave.
So it's a very demeaning, demoralizing atmosphere, both by management and by the customers. The customers will treat you horribly too. Customers in the 21st century are the worst. I've been in call centers now for close to 28 years, and I can tell you that the customers over time have gotten so bad, so awful, that it's just unbearable at times.
Personally, I haven't seen
Number two,
a big...
the reason people leave call centers is the pressure. It's a very high-pressure situation, high-pressure job. They have metrics they want you to meet. Management wants you to meet all these metrics. Talk time, break time, all these metrics you have to stick to. If you miss any of the metrics, I think if you miss 2 or more, you're held back from bonuses, you're held back from pay increases, you're not allowed to post out, you can't post to a different shift. So you're completely tied to and a slave to these metrics. So there's all this pressure that they put on you and you start to put on yourself, and it gets so bad people get sick.
True. Okay. So he is kind of hinting at the real reason that I think people leave, and it's that they do not have the mental fortitude, the mental steeliness, the steeled resolve to do it. They don't possess it. Now, I'm not saying that some of these opportunities that he's talking about are all good or positive or what have you. I don't think they're all. I don't think every metric we talk about is a cracking open a little sun-kissed here. I don't think that what you have is a good balance a lot of times. But very often before you take a job, they explain to you what the expectations are. And you might say, well, Zachary D., the Palsy Papa, I've got to take this job to feed my family. And mad respect to you. Super mad respect. Those of you who know me and know this channel understand that I am the sole provider as far as income for my rather large 4 children and a wife family. So I understand having to do what you have to do to make ends meet. But if you find yourself in a situation where you cannot, will not, won't not comply with the metrics outlined for you, if you don't have the capacity to do that, it might be good for you to do it while you have to. Don't Don't leave before you have to, and go ahead and dang, I need a shape. This is annoying me at this point. I can't imagine what it's like for you guys to look at my scraggly look here. Either way, my point is that if you find yourself that you cannot meet what metrics they're telling you to meet, or they keep moving the goalpost and now you're in a situation where you absolutely can't do what they're asking you to do, it behooves you to find another job. Now, are there a lot of things that are just industry standard? Yeah, absolutely. There are a ton of things that are just the standard operating protocol, and you might find that you need to leave and the industry's not for you because you need more flexibility. But I would make the argument that there are a ton of jobs that are not going to give you a whole ton of flexibility as far as time off or like bathroom, like if you're constantly gone from your desk, even in an office job where they don't necessarily monitor your bathroom breaks, I would venture to guess that somebody's going to start asking questions.
So people will quit because the pressure makes them sick. They have mental problems or emotional problems. And I don't mean mental because they're crazy, mental because the job's driving them crazy. When I was at Verizon Wireless, the paramedics were there once a week.
Once a week's a little much, PT Pop, but maybe. I mean, he's right. I have on more than one occasion seen people just straight fall out. And I have seen call centers whereby the paramedics do, in fact, show up. Absolutely. He's not out of line there at all.
People would be just literally dropping on the floor like bags of wet sand, falling to the floor.
Just to be clear, I doubt that is an actual picture from his situation. And there's no context for this picture. I'm not excusing it, but it looks like they're in a classroom, like a traditional school classroom is what it looks like to me anyway. But it doesn't, the principle remains. I just want to point out that this is probably not an accurate representation of something he saw.
Or call 911, and there would be the paramedics coming up the back stairs with their gurney and their oxygen and their paddles and all that stuff. Number 3, the customers. Customers in calling into call centers over the years have gotten incrementally worse and worse and worse.
Have they?
They're awful.
Like I said before, I haven't seen that.
Customers in the 21st century have a sense of self-entitlement. They feel that they are owed things. They think they should be given things just because they're the customer. They've heard the expression, the customer's always right. They've heard
the customer is always right in matters of taste and preference. They are not always right regarding your policies, and they do not deserve to usurp them all the time.
The first call resolution thing, they know now that you're tied to the desk and you're tied to these numbers, or you won't get your bonuses. Somehow they.
Oh, that's true. A lot of customers have now done what they're calling in to have you do, right? And you have two kinds of people in that regard. You have people who know what your boundaries are and respect them. And you have people who know what your boundaries are and want them to be disrespected. So, he's not wrong. But the only people that I've seen leave over the customers are people that leave fairly quickly. You get on in training, you get cursed out one good time, you throw your headset down, and you walk away. 100% I've seen it. But this is not why people leave long term anyway. It's not why people leave call center jobs.
We all know that some of them probably worked in call centers. And customers are belligerent belittling. They'll say dirty, filthy things. These people aren't just saying, well, I don't like you. They're putting down your mother. They're putting down your father.
True.
They're calling your dog a pickle sucker and stuff like that. They're horrible. These customers are god-awful. Terrible people. And it adds to the pressure. And it adds to the demeanor.
But see, he's talking about customers like they're not people. There's a reason that is not you why that person on the other end of the phone is talking to you some type of kind of way. And it is more a reflection on them than it is on you.
Work environment. Number 4, it's an asylum-like atmosphere. Just as I said before, Mr. Nicholson, Jack Nicholson, RP... what was his name? RP McMurphy. You're going to be the RP McMurphy, and I was the RP McMurphy, and my supervisor was always Nurse Ratchet. It is a horrible, unhealthy atmosphere with a lot of very uneducated, broken people who are suffering from a variety of mental and physical afflictions, and most of them, the only job they could get was in the call center. That's not being mean, that's the truth. You'll see people...
See, but it is kind of being mean, PT. Because, okay, maybe it is. Why not build those people up and make them feel worth something? Maybe it is the only job they could get. Maybe you're right. But why not build them up and help them be successful and contribute to society as opposed to not doing anything? And to be clear, I've never in all my years, I've never seen somebody cite their reason for walking out or quitting to be their coworkers. Management, sure. Customers, I've already outlined how that is. Usually the top 2 reasons are burnout, they did not have the mental resolve to do it, or they found something that they perceive is going to be better for them.
People there in wheelchairs, people on oxygen, you'll see people with facial and physical deformities, mental incapacities, borderline mongoloid people work in these places. It's just,
I don't know
if
you can say that
really
these days.
Weird, like inbred, deliverance, one flew over the cuckoo's nest type atmosphere.
I also
want to
know where exactly
I can't handle some of the people.
There are a lot of people
that are on drugs. I met people on meth. I know people that will sit in their car and get high on pot and God knows what else.
Oh, yeah. Drug use was massive in every call center I've ever worked at. Past that first drug screening, they didn't care what you did. As long as you came in and did your job and weren't just obviously burned out of your gourd, right? So, yeah. And I'm not saying it's right. In fact, I think it's not good. At the same time, that's how some people coped and maintained their mental resolve.
There's a lot of mental and emotional issues in these call centers. And if for someone like myself that worked in the corporate world where I didn't deal with stuff like that, and you come into it, it's very hard to take. So if you work, say, for like a big corporation and you had a nice job paying 6 figures and you lost your job and you take this job, you're going to be like surrounded by like this weird, demented, like bizarre blue velvet.
If you had a job paying 6 figures and you cannot come in to any call center with a management gig, I don't know where you messed up on your resume or your interview. I don't know why you would be out on the floor with people. I don't know why you would be dealing with the type of things he's talking about.
It's, Tim Burton type movie. You're going to think you've walked into the Twilight Zone. The asylum atmosphere is awful. Okay, number 5, they always hire everyone in second shift. They'll have 3 shifts, but the people that come in, the new people, all have to start on second shift. And it's almost impossible to get off a second shift unless you meet all the metrics that they want you to meet.
True.
And most of the metrics that they want you to meet are impossible to meet.
Disagree.
So if you're not making all the metrics that they've asked you to meet,
impossible,
talk time, back to and from break on time, good customer service survey reviews, you're not going to be able to get off a second shift. Another thing about the shifts is the people who have made it to first shift, they're not going nowhere unless they get fired. A lot of these are old broads, old morbidly obese ladies who have been with a company for 100 years, and they don't want to lose their first shift. So they're not going to give it up to you. And they're not going to give it to you if you don't meet your metrics. So you're stuck on second shift. Second shift is...
Well, but if that were true, PT, if you couldn't meet your metrics, if it wasn't possible, then Betty, who you're talking about, wouldn't be there. There would be no first shift people. Right? I understand what he's saying. It can be hard to get a new shift bid in. Absolutely no doubt.
It's awful, especially if you have a family, if you have kids, if you have a life outside of here, a social life with friends and family, you will never see your kids again. You'll leave them for work at 4 o'clock, you'll get home at 11, 12 o'clock at night. You'll never see your kids. You won't see them go to school.
By the way, some call centers only run during the
studying. Day. You'll get 2 days off a week. They always give you 2 days off. They're never 2 days in a row. You get 2 days off, usually like a Monday and a Thursday, or a Sunday and a Wednesday, or a Friday and a Tuesday. They will not give you Saturdays off. You will never have Saturdays off again. You will never have a regular work week ever again in a call center. Unless you get promoted and you meet the metrics. So you're screwed. You're absolutely positively completely
in places
screwed.
That were Monday through Friday only.
So the shifts are bad. So to summarize up through the first 5 here, you got demeaning work, high pressure, the customers are terrible, it's asylum type atmosphere, and the shift hours are unreasonable, especially if you have family, friends, and kids. Number 6, you've got lack of freedom. You have absolutely no freedom in these call centers because you are literally tied to your desk by your collar and leash. This is your collar, this is your leash. And I'm not being kinky here, and I'm not being weird. This is literally in the call center, they call this your leash. This is your leash, this is your collar, and you're tied to your desk. You are not allowed to leave your desk under any circumstances unless you're having some type of really bad health issues. So in the call centers, you're given 2 10 or 2 15-minute breaks and a half-hour lunch. You will never be given enough time off the phones to do anything or accomplish anything. You will not be allowed to drive anywhere. You will not be allowed to go away for lunch. So you have to bring your lunch in. You have to either eat at the company cafeteria, which usually closes at 5 p.m. when your shift starts. So you're not going to be able to use the cafeteria because the cafeteria is only there for the first shift people and the corporate people that work in the upper echelons of the ivory tower. So,
okay, so he's right in a certain sense. It's going to be less a big deal with things like Uber Eats and things like that. I mean, you're going to have more options in that way. I've got a hangy piece of hair that is annoying the snot out of me. I do need to shave. I'm done. I need to shave. Anyway, I'm going to try not to be distracted by that again in the course of this video, but I can't make any promises. But he's right. He's right that the company cafeteria is probably going to close. You could technically arrive a bit early and go eat. I've been in places that had like a little convenience store that you could go to during your break or whatever. But he is right in that a 30-minute lunch is not a lot, and you could probably get away with one quick bathroom break every hour or two. And most places will let you eat. Like, will let you drink water, and they'll let you have little snacks at your desk. So it's not as prohibitive as he might make it out to be. But are you going to be able to accomplish like errands during your workday? No, but I think in most places, you're not doing that either.
So you have no freedom. It is no time to go to the bathroom. You have no time to really eat lunch.
No.
You have no time to escape the pressures of the job. So people get sick of it and they leave. Number 7, the pay is awful. There is poor pay. Every call center, especially here on the East Coast and in Ohio, they start you off at $10 an hour. I don't know about you, but over the last 20 years, the world has changed. Everything's gotten really expensive, and $10 an hour does not cut it anymore. You will not be able to survive on just one job working in a call center making $10 an hour. It doesn't do you any good. Most of the call centers bring you at $10 an hour part-time without benefits. So not only are you being paid poorly, you're
this is just not,
not able
this video
to pay utilities, pay child support, put gas in the car, put food in the fridge, and you're barely able to pay the rent. You're going to have to work multiple jobs, and the schedule's so bad, the second shift that you're on, it's almost impossible to find another job because there's very few jobs that are worth getting out of bed for third shift, and there's hardly any first shift ones. So the pay is awful. You're not going to receive good pay. $10 an hour. Number 8, there's lack of advancement. Now, number 8 kind of leads to number 9, but number 8, they'll tell you in the interview process that there's great chance for advancement. Oh, you're gonna have a chance to become a trainer or a quality assurance expert, or you can become an admin or become an assistant manager or even vice president. And then you get in there and you find out that the metrics are so hard to meet. The talk time, the handle time, all the quality scores you have to meet, you can't meet them, so you never get advanced. It's almost impossible unless you have connections inside. And they lie to you. They tell you there's chances for advancement. The job is so easy, but there is no chance for advancement. It's almost impossible. Which leads to number 9. Number 9 is dishonest hiring practices. This is guaranteed. I guarantee.
Okay. So let's address number 8, because I disagree that those two are related. I'm going to address number 8 real quick. Well, as quick as I can. You know me. It's never super mega turbo quick. So... true fact. I mean, okay. So, one thing he didn't say there that I think is the most likely to be the reason you don't advance is because before you showed up, there were already people in all the advanced positions. I have learned over the course of the last 15 years, and most especially over the last 3 or 4, that call centers are also one of the only jobs left that are going to value a degree for a manager over just raw work experience. They're going to want that degree. They're going to want that piece of paper. They're going to want the certifications. They're going to want all of that. So knowing that, if you know that going in, you can set yourself up to do okay. Now, I've advanced rather quickly in some places. And you want to know how I advanced? Working my ass off. Working. Putting in work. Just being the guy. Johnny on the spot. They need something, I was doing it. Did it work out everywhere? No. Do I still work at those places where it didn't work? No. No, I don't. I absolutely 100% don't. This comes down to as well, you got to find somewhere that works for you. He's going to talk about dishonest hiring practices. I have never felt any more or less lied to in a call center job than I would expect to be lied to or sugar-coated in any other job. So I'll be curious to hear what he says, but I doubt I'm going to agree with much from here.
This they will lie to you. If they're talking to you in a call center interview before you get hired, they're lying to you. They'll come in and they'll say, hey, welcome to Come On, I Want to Lay in Morton. How you doing today? You're going to love working here. Oh, my God. You're going to have so many chances for advancement. It's a family type atmosphere, rock and roll atmosphere, cash paid daily. Oh, you're going to love it.
Oh.
And, you know,
that cash paid daily nonsense, he's talking about sales places. I see now that confirms what, that confirms P.T. Papadopoulos' jadedness. And I'll tell you, I'll be the first to tell you that sales jobs ain't it, Chief. If you want to get in on call centers, go to customer service, go to tech support, go somewhere else. Do not look at these sales jobs. So if with that in mind and that context, if he's talking about sales jobs, he's probably 100% right. But a lot of these are overblown from standard customer service type jobs.
What, to prove it to you, let's go listen to some calls even before we do the interview. And so they'll give you a headset, you know, they give you a little headset just like this, and they'll go out on the floor with you, and they'll set you up with what they say is one of their best call center reps. And then they'll plug you into their phone so you can listen to their calls while they're live on the phone with customers, right? And every single one of these calls that drops into their headset is so easy. It's just like, hi, this is Sally. Thank you for calling Kamana Wanley and Morton. May I have your name, please? Well, hi, Sally. Thanks for taking my call.
Not true. First off, I've never been anywhere that let me side by side in the interview. Second off, he's implying that they route certain customers to these people. I've heard people get railed on in a side-by-side. This is just he's exaggerating beyond what's reasonable for clicks.
You're such a sweet lady. I just called to get my balance, that's all. And every call is like that. So they give you this false sense of security that the calls are very simple. The calls are so simple. Oh my God.
Generally speaking,
but when you get on the floor, the calls are never like that. Rarely, especially in banking, do you just get people calling in for their balances, especially in the 21st century.
True.
Where everybody has one of these things and they can get their balance in 2 seconds. So they lie to you. They give you this false sense of security that the job's easy, that it's fun, that there's a chance for advancement. You'll be off a second shift in no time. That's how you make lots of money. You know, all kinds of. They'll say the top reps here make $45,000 a year in bonuses. And then you find out you get on there, you're barely making. You start you in a 10, and you're lucky if you're making 12 after about a year with the bonuses and the compensation packages, especially if you do sales. And then they'll tell you in these call center interviews, they'll say there's no sales. There's no sales. All you got to do is customer service. There's no upselling. Then you get on the floor. I worked in places where they say, oh yeah, there's sales, there's upselling. You also got to do technical support. I recently worked at a bank where there was sales. But once I was on the floor,
that has happened. People will definitely find creative ways to phrase things where you're not selling technically. You're making additional offers.
They told me I had to help people set up their online banking account. And I was talking to mostly elderly people who didn't know a browser from a search engine. It was horrible. My talk time doubled, and it was impossible to get, it's almost impossible to talk somebody into how to sign up.
By the way, in my experience, talk time as a metric is going away. I find that most places want positive experiences. They want those surveys. They don't care how long it takes you, as long as you're not taking your entire shift on one call. They don't care how long it takes you, as long as you get a positive experience out of it.
For online banking, when they don't even know what a computer is, or what a browser is, or what a search engine is, or what their butthole is.
Sir, stick your thumb in your butthole for me and then turn it to the right. There you go. You're set up now. Oh, you got your online banking. See ya. Bye.
So it's
he's not
really
wrong,
dishonest.
Though.
It's a very dishonest atmosphere, and people will leave because of that.
Don't know what's going on.
Number 10 And I think most importantly, this all kind of ties in together. The managers are awful. The managers are horrific. The number one thing here is that they give people the title of manager. And these are people that can barely tie their shoes, walk and chew bubble gum all at the same time. They're totally clueless. They'll take people off the floor who have been with the company for 6 months
in my day,
who have met the metrics and decide to promote them to supervisor. And these are people that have no critical thinking skills. They have no empathy ability. They have no ability to think out of the box. They have no way to. They don't know how to build people up. All they know is how to tear you down.
Because they're told, tear them down, tear them down, tear them down, break them down, tear them down. They don't meet the metrics, tear them down, break them apart.
I have never worked in a place where I, as a manager, or my managers have been told to tear people down. That is asinine.
Smash them.
And that's what the supervisors all do. I've had one good supervisor who built me up and made me feel good, and that was it. That's in 28 years of call centers. You've got supervisors.
PT, you need to come work with me, dog. Like, you sound like you just been some bad places. And it sounds like he's talking about, like, this was 4 years ago, before the work at home thing. Because working at home solves a lot of this BS. Really. I can't elaborate a whole lot, but it does solve a lot of this BS. Mostly because I don't see my manager every day. I don't communicate with them on a regular basis all the time. I don't have to deal with office politics a whole lot. It's a lot better in that sense. So,
say if you don't do better, we're going to fire you.
True. There. I mean, it's very clear. If you can't do the job, we got to get somebody in here who can. I don't see how that's not understood, or at least understandable.
You got supervisors then will tell you you're making this mistake and this mistake and this mistake, but they don't show you how to correct it. There's no additional coaching once you get out of training. They don't have time, and they don't want to help you. Most of the supervisors on the floor disappear. They completely walk away from their stations for hours. They'll be gone, and no one will know where they are.
It's bad supervision.
The supervisors I've heard racist things. I had a guy at one bank here in Cleveland, and he was the guy that interviewed me.
I can't.
He's a bodybuilder, he had these muscles. He's like, hey, dude, hey, you like my muscles in the interview? He's like, hey, I'm a bodybuilder. You a bodybuilder?
Obviously, I'm not a bodybuilder. So I get hired, I get brought in training. He comes in the training class, and he sees me.
He's like, hey, dude, how you doing? Welcome aboard. You're going to like it here. Come on, I want to lay in the morning. He's like, what do you think of that bicep? What do you think of that? Isn't that great?
So I'm in training class there that day. And there's two girls sitting behind me, maybe 35 years old. Ladies, I'm sorry. Whatever the hell you're supposed to call women these days. And I hear them talking.
I could break that down.
Did you meet Bill? Did you meet the bodybuilder guy? I'm listening. Yeah, the guy came up to me and kept trying to get me to feel his delts and his pecs and stuff.
And you'll see old kind. This was a supervisor. This is a grown-ass man. And he was hitting on these girls trying to get him to feel his muscles. So they were gone pretty soon. They left. They quit. So, overall, it's demeaning work. It's high pressure. The customers are awful. It's an asylum, one flew over the cuckoo's nest type atmosphere. The shift is awful. The shift you're going to work is bad. It's going to ruin your family life. And
he's just gonna repeat what we've already talked about here. And all I can say in closing to this particular video is, I don't know if I've gotten lucky. I don't know if I'm just insane. But a lot of that I can't relate to. There's no way for me to relate to that. I can't. It's not my experience. I understand a lot of what he's talking about, but it is not something I went through. Some of what he is talking about is completely valid, and I understand it, and I know where it's coming from, and you can go back to the last almost hour of this video And you'll see the areas where I agree with him. But I think this is going to be my last PT pop for a while, because this guy is just jaded. I might actually take an opportunity to, the next video I do on call centers, why call centers are awesome. I might try to find a video about that and see how much of that I can agree with. See what people have to say. See how much of that's just like a marketing ploy to get you to work somewhere in particular. So, until next time, lick that like button, tickle that notification pickle, punch that subscribe button in the nuts, and as always, commentate your thoughts in the comment box. I appreciate you guys. I am Zachary D, the Palsy Papa, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day.